Oh, I'm gonna start from the beginning again because that sort of messed up our set. But here we are in the San Francisco Bay Area. This is San Francisco Bay over here, the home of the Ohlone people, the Kanaka Hui, as Liko says.
Kanaka Hui. This is the beginning of the land of Kanaka Hui. You know, I've been in the area here down in Southern California, up here too, when we came in 1993 to the 500-year celebration of the Columbus disaster, we'll call it. There were many signs and symbols, like the Ohlone. There were some Ohlone here who, part of their regalia, which I took notice of, was the ohe, the bamboo. That was part of their, the implements that they were carrying. And I took note of that because sometimes, there's big gaps in and some of the traditions. The old folks die, and actually they don't really know a lot about those things. So definitely the Kanaka Hui is up here. It's all the way across, and so we're not alone in that respect. And of course, calling out to the honest Americans, as if they'd like to dispel the scourge of wrongful acts that they had no participation in and have no knowledge of. I think that's one of the important spiritual aspects of this mission here. And of course, to create a venue. This is our venue. Instead of running around after bones and scraps of meat, and to maintain the status quo and all the divisive proposals that have been put to us, not just recently, but over the last 20 years, ever since the this apology law came into being, which basically Senator Gordon, he really told it like it should be. He says the only logical conclusion of this resolution is independence, and he was the one who sort of confronted Senator Inouye and said, "Well, Senator, where are you taking us? Are you taking us back to the kingdom? Are you talking about the common ownership of land?" And of course, the senator's answer was, "Oh no. Let me assure my colleagues that this has nothing to do with the question of whether or this is a simple apology, and has nothing to do with the question of whether or not Native Hawaiians are Native Americans." Now we know the answer to that. And in my fateful run for lieutenant governor, that's why I really ran for lieutenant governor at that time on Kauai, because I wanted to make a statement. And I ran against Mazie Hirono, actually, and whom we sent a letter to last night, and asking her for equal time, is what it's called, fair representation. If they've given all this attention to basically maintaining the status quo, recognizing institutions of apartheid, institutional racism, and that we will be comfortable living under those conditions, even independently, as they might want to say that we'd have our independence inside of a fence. I think that it's good for us to finally know where not to go. It's very important, as I've watched this whole movement every time, it's been important to know where not to go, how we shed the skin. The skin is the old skin is very heavy, and right now we have to take every precaution to maintain the aloha that the Queen showed. In other words, not to be blaming all the people of America for what they did not know what was done. Okay, and so we carry that aloha for people, and so anyway, that's my kind of little insert into the Kanaka Hui and the importance as high as we go, you know, that others would join us on that same level.
Mahalo.
Thank you, Lord. Okay, my turn. You want me to play camera?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, is it still rolling? You see the numbers?
It's still moving.
Okay.
It's rolling, Bob.
And so are we.
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling here.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So as we're out here by the San Francisco Bay, and we're about to leave the San Francisco Bay, I'd like to read from a newspaper, an old newspaper. This was back when the Queen made her journey, and this is from the San Francisco Call. So this kind of shows how the people of America were actually kind of aware about what was going on at that time, and could see the truth of what was happening largely. San Francisco Bay. Yeah. You feel free to show the scenery too. So what it says, it's a little hard to read this old paper online, but what it says is, Lili'u o Kalani to leave. Why is ex-queen to start tomorrow en route for Wellington to oppose annexation? Queen Lili'u o Kalani, who arrived here over a fortnight ago and has been staying quietly at the California Hotel, will leave here tomorrow evening on the Central Overland train for Chicago, whence she will immediately resume her journey to Washington, D.C. She will go accompanied only by her 2 lady servants and managers of her household and minor affairs, Mr. and Mrs. Helulehe. Who have been her constant companions ever since she left Honolulu last October. Hawaii's queen is coming east to be ready to resume her fight against annexation as soon as Congress shall again convene. So
here we are on our way to Chicago, and you know, yeah, that's what this is about. In the earlier broadcast, I had a feeling on June 17th in Washington, D.C. Last night we put out some applications with the Capitol Police right there at the White House to get escort and be able to be there on June 17th, 119 years since Queen Lili'u o Kalani filed that official protest against the attempted annexation by the United States. And this is some really clarification thing. There was no annexation in 1898. It was at the Spanish-American War that the President McKinley just sort of picked up and said, well, we'll use this and we'll take Hawaii, and we have Schofield Barracks, etc., etc. What to clarify some issues that there was no annexation. Clearly, at the United Nations level, international level, so that we can get the kind of intervention and start to, you know, roll it back a little bit, you know. So it'd be, I was mentioning earlier, I have this vision of, you know, 40,000 people signed the Kue petition of our Ohana. My grandmother, my grandmothers, my great aunties signed it up from Kauai. And maybe there'll be a lot of people who in Hawaii who, like when they showed up at the DOI, if you could think about doing something on June 17th, and everything is really kind of spontaneous. It's good because leadership really lives in everyone. No?
Can I point something
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, go ahead, Laulani.
Sorry, I just didn't want to leave this area without pointing out that we're in an area, or we're near an area, and please forgive me, folks that are from this land, because I might get it wrong slightly, but I do recognize a bridge up there is the Vallejo bridge, and the area that I'm trying to show over there is an area called Sogorea Te, and a few years ago the people from this area, the Laulani and many others, had an encampment. There's the bridge, the Vallejo bridge, and they had an encampment to protect the burial areas and many other sacred sites at that area from development in the name of recreation. You know, we see the same thing in Hawaii a lot, where in the name of people being able to access and love nature, a lot of the actual resources that are there, the actual treasure of the land and the people, are often destroyed. And so that was what was happening over there. And I was able to visit at the end of that encampment, which was somewhere right around here, very close to here. And one of the things that was most noticeable to me was that when we went down to the ocean, down to the bay here, and I heard this noise and looked across the bay, and there, right across that bay, and I don't know if you can see it from here, but was C&H Sugar. And you know, I looked at the encampment and the people who had to, you know, the people of the land here who had to encamp there to put themselves at risk in order to protect their sacred aina. And I could see that this plant here, the C&H Sugar plant, here you see it, here it comes, C&H pure cane sugar. C&H is California and Hawaii, by the way, and those are the sugar planters that invaded Laulani Palace and you know, basically stole our kingdom at gunpoint. And here they are in the lands here, and they're completely destroying this place. And there's, you can't quite see it, but there's a lot of smoke and pollution. And so Sogorea Te is right there across the bay, and we just like to really honor those people over there who encamped and protected Sogorea Te, you know. And there we are looking at the same oppressors, C&H, California and Hawaii. You know, it's the same struggle everywhere. So when we say we don't want federal recognition, we're not saying anything about our cousins over here who are doing awesome work protecting their lands with their bodies, not with any federal instrument, but with their bodies and with their hearts and souls. And so, you know, as we travel across this huge continent, we're really honoring them too.